Well, first off, it's a good problem that I got. Definitely got a lot of guys with experience, good players coming back, and some young kids that are coming through. It's going to help in the long run, as we all know. It's a physical, tough season, and you got to be able to endure. And so having that depth is really going to help kind of provide throughout the season.
Kyle said that Lander might be playing some tight end this year. I'm curious, just what are your thoughts on that, and what does that say about his versatility?
Well, I mean, it's all about winning the game, and whatever we got to do in order to get there. Getting your best guys on the field, and whether it's on offense or defense. Lander's obviously a very versatile player and can do multiple things, as he's shown on defense. So I think, his ability to go over and help the offense is awesome, and we're looking at the end result, and I know he can help us get there. So
with Lander, he was still, rehabbing the injury in the offseason. How big is it to go into the season fully healthy, and what do you expect from him this year?
Yeah, I mean, going into last year's season, he was coming off that broken foot, kind of a slower start for him. As we all know, but I think the way he ended his last 4 games, he's playing really, really well. He's had a great summer, extremely healthy. I would expect some really good things and a very fast start from him. He's extremely motivated. He's always motivated, but you can tell he's extremely motivated. He's in a really good spot, both mentally and physically.
You've got a vital piece coming back now, fresh off injury last year, obviously, Levani Demooney. How important is he to that room, and what's he going to bring to you guys?
So 2 years ago when Levani was playing, and it was just awesome to have him. I once again was in a good spot with Karene and Lander, and then throwing Levani into the mix. He was in a great spot. Unfortunately, got hurt, obviously last season. But he is he's in good health, and excited to get him back. He provides a lot of experience. I don't know if there's probably a linebacker in the conference that has as much experience as Levani has. So a lot of experience. He's really going to add to what we do defensively. He's just a great individual to have around, and expect some really good things from Levani.
You mentioned all the returning reps, but Karene Reed was kind of your communicator, it seems like, in that linebacker room. How do you see that process evolving with some of the guys that fill in that role?
Well, if you remember last season, Karene was hurt for 5 or 6 games, and that's kind of been his deal, throughout his career. Is he would miss some games due to injury. I would think it really forced Lander to take over. Lander, you meet Lander just on the streets. He's kind of a subtle, more quiet kid compared to his brother Cody, but on the football field, he's very talkative, and I think in Karene being out for a few games, that's forced Lander to do it. Levani has done a great job in communication. Jonathan Hall does a great job. Trey Reynolds does a great job. I mean, there's some guys that are really stepping up and taking the command of the defense, is what I call it, to them. So.
What sort of difference do you see in Jonathan Hall now that he has that season under his belt at linebacker?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be pleasantly surprised with how much development and growth he's had. We flipped him right to linebacker before the start of the season last year, and so not fair to him, to have any experience doing it, but he did a great job, and now going through a spring and leading into this fall, I mean, he's a phenomenal player as it is, but now he's had a year under his belt. I'm expecting some great things.
Going back to Levani, with the Achilles injury, there's some fear that like the ramp up might not be as where it was with level play from him. How do you think that maybe spring helped him get up to speed a little bit faster heading into the season?
Yeah, I don't think he was up against any sort of time restraints. I think he rehabbed and progressed through what he needed to on his own time. I think that really helped him from a confidence standpoint. I think he's in a really good frame of mind right now with that injury. He's very diligent and very dedicated to his rehab, and so I think he's done it the right way. Obviously this game is very important to him, and he takes a lot of pride in it. So I think he's in the right spot.
You have the 2 true freshmen that were participating in spring ball. What did you see out of them, and do you have expectations for them this fall?
Yeah, Kenai Lopes is a kid that came out of Las Vegas, transferred down to St. John Bosco. He had a really good spring ball. Looking for good things from him. Then you got Coach Ellis's son. We call him Tui for the 2 E's, Elijah Ellis. So he kind of got the nickname Tui. meant hence not the Polynesian name Tui, but two E's is how he picked that one up. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of a joke, but he's phenomenal. He's going to be a great one. Now, one thing that's a blessing is you bring in, you know, Cyrus Polu and Christian Thatcher and Matiaki Helu, and all these younger backers can really start to see what it takes in order to be a great one. You know, they've seen Corinne Reed, now Lander Barton, and Levani Demooney, and John Hall, and so they got some guys with some experience in front of them, and I tell you what, the future is really, really bright.
In terms of defensive philosophy and just adapting to the Big 12, what do you think in the linebacker room you guys learned most from Big 12 play from last year?
It was, you know, going into the Big 12, I thought it was going to be completely different, to be quite honest with you. I thought it was going to be a 7-on-7 tournament out there. And in all honesty, I saw bigger personnels and a lot more than I thought it would. You know, some 12 personnel, some 13, some, you know, linebacker dream type of offenses, and yeah, I was surprised at you know, the amount of run and the style of run and the amount of, you know, offensive personnel that we were seeing. It was awesome to see. So I wouldn't say there was too much change coming out of the Pac-12 into the Big 12. I would expect the same. We have a few different opponents going into this season, but for the most part, in my early scouting, I see it very similar to last year as well. So.